John 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women, okay? Not no strawberry hollows on this side. I'm ready to have children, man, you can vibe with, okay? Be around brothers. Be around the Lord himself, okay? I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist, all right? I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly, okay? I'm ready to eat real food, okay? I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shai in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with God. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to it, the redemption of our body. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
that we're seeing formulating real time. All right. And the only way to make sense of what we see happening when it comes to the war, when it comes to how Esau Edom is moving in these last days, the MOTB, all right, the technocracy. Well, the only thing that makes sense of everything that we're seeing happening on the world stage is the Bible, the prophecy. Okay. And that's why the Lord has raised up the prophets in these last days, all right, to guide the church and understanding of where we at. Okay. So where we at right now, man, we're seeing a third world's war formulate in the earth. Okay. The Lord is moving all these pieces around and causing all these events to happen. All right, to bring forth prophecy, man. So let's get some precepts, and then I got a few videos I want to tie in together just to show the power of the Lord. And this is all the Lord showing that He is, because the thing that He spoke on, thousands of years ago are now happening in real time in our day, which should be a faith booster for us, man. And we should be rejoicing in our power and what He's doing. We should be rejoicing in our power in these latter days, man. Because the Lord is doing a mighty work in the earth, man. And we know that there's a righteous kingdom that comes right after, man. Esau being the end of the world, the age, and we're at the end of his age. So by default, this is the beginning of the age of Jacob. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's get some precepts. Okay, and then let's see, we'll segue to a few videos. This is Isaiah 46. Okay, and 9 it says, "Remember the former things are old, for I am the Most High. There is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me." And that's another statement that the Lord is getting ready to make through judgment, that there is none like Him. Okay, because Esau been marketing himself as if he's a God, as if he's on the same tier with the Most High. Okay, as he has the capability of performing as the Most High in the earth. That's what Esau been marketing himself as, man. So what we're seeing is the Lord is going to constantly embarrass this nigga Esau, man, to show the world the nigga he's a fraud, man. Okay, this nigga not no God. Okay, he's a magic trick, man. Okay, and the power that Esau has on the left hand, the Lord had to lend that nigga power, man. Okay, Esau is operating out borrowed power from our power, man, the true power, man. Okay, and as the Lord is stripping this man, okay, from that left hand, we see that he's a base man, and he don't got it, never had it. He's just been propped up, man. Okay, verse 10 said, "Declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure." So we're watching the Lord do His pleasure. We're watching the counsel of the Lord play out, man. That's why understanding prophecy is understanding the counsel of the Lord. Because what is the Lord's good pleasure? All this back and forth, and it's a lot of information going out. Okay, but ultimately we're able to make sense, okay, of all this information. Confusion is going out because of what? The one true narrative, which is prophecy, man. Because the Lord said, look, he's performing His counsel, He's doing His pleasure. And what's the end game of the Lord's counsel? Okay, fear not, little flock, Luke 12:35. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Okay, so in order for the Lord to perform His pleasure and give His people a kingdom, beginning with the elect, He has to remove this kingdom. Okay, this kingdom has to be uprooted. Okay, and this war is going to uproot Esau's kingdom and the power of these heathens, man. It's going to uproot this whole power structure, man. Because our forefathers, what was they inquiring of, man? When you go to the book of Luke, chapter 10, let's start off there. All right, Luke 10 and 23. And it says that He turned Him unto His disciples. And if a brother can get there too in Sirach, not Sirach, 2nd Ezra 4, 28 through 30, Bible Shah. Whatever y'all brothers see fit. But Bible Shah, brother can get that. This is Luke 10 and 23 says, he turned unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, to hear those things which you hear and have not heard them. Okay? So Yahweh Shai, he was letting them know, like, many prophets and kings have desired to see the things that you see. And that was his first coming. Okay, so how much more now we at the doorstep of his second coming, man, and we're alive to see it, man. And the Lord has us active in the truth, man. We're serving Yahweh Shai before he comes, man. You see, brothers, we got to really tap in to understand we're serving Yahweh Shai before he comes. He's allowing us to serve, man. You see how great is that? And our forefathers, what was they inquiring about, man? When you go to the book of Acts, chapter 1. Okay, it's the book of Acts, chapter 1, and verse 6. It says, when they therefore will come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom unto Israel? Okay, because remember, he told them that in Luke before he was crucified. So after he was crucified and resurrected, they was thinking, okay, now he's going to restore the kingdom, but it wasn't time. You see? It wasn't time. Why? Because there's things that still had to play out. The first World War, because there's 3 wars that's prophesied in the kingdom. In the Bible, there's 3 world wars. Okay, the first one wasn't even had taken place yet. Deuteronomy 28 and 68 hasn't taken place yet. So there's things that had to play out. But now we're at the doorsteps. Now World War I and World War II has happened. Now we're just waiting on this third war. Okay, and the scriptures say it's coming quickly, man. Okay, and this is the war that's going to restore the kingdom to Israel, man. You see, so now we're alive and seeing it play out. You see, that's why I say we gotta appreciate this thing, man. We should be very appreciative of what our power is doing real time, man. Then allowing us to be a part of it, man. You see, allowing us to see it, man, to speak on it, to exist in these times. You see, so let's go from there. Let's get this real quick. In second Ezra. All right, so let's get this real quick. This is the book of second Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 54. And it says, and after these, this is Ezra, petitioning to the archangel Uriel, to petition to the Most High. It says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people whom thou hast chosen, because there's a chosen lineage that comes from Adam, through Shem, all right, through Noah down to Abraham, all right, Isaac and Jacob. That's that chosen lineage. Okay. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes, man. And we have to understand that's another thing. The world was made for our sakes, but we failed because we didn't fully, all right, embrace the responsibility, man, of maintaining the earth in righteousness, man. But this captivity has taught us the importance of righteousness and order. Okay. That's one thing that is teaching us, man, as the sons of God, man, it's teaching us responsibility and order. The importance of maintaining righteousness, man. And we see there's no other way. The Lord gave us over to, our devices, and we see, man, that ain't the play, man. Do as thou wilt, doing what we want to do, being led by the flesh, that ain't the play. So now as we the Lord put us in this captivity to mature us and refine us, man. And as we're being refined, because as it's starting to click for the sons of God, then the Lord is starting to pack Esau up, man. Because Esau's whole purpose was to teach us a lesson. Esau was a tool used as the Lord. Esau, all right, was a tool that the Lord used to chasten us, man. Okay, he's going to be a punishment to the 2/3, but it was a chastisement to the 1/3, man, to make us appreciate righteousness, man. Okay, and now we're getting back to the to rulership, man. And the earth was made for our sakes, man. Okay, verse 56 is for the other people, which also come of Adam. Thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto the drop that falleth from a vessel. Now, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be Lord over us and devour us. Okay, and it's the point, verse 58. If the world be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? And you look at how the Lord got it set up. He has all these heathens getting ready to counsel each other out. And then Yahweh Shah is going to come finish them off. And then we're going to get our inheritance, man. The Lord's going to give us the earth, man, in righteousness. You see? But he's conditioning and instilling appreciation in us, man. Humility, patience, okay, obedience. These things are being instilled in us while we are in captivity waiting, you know? And what gives us joy is to see our Lord and see our power at work, man, and see how about Shema Shai at work. Okay, and he's gonna have these heathens counsel each other out, man. You know, and establish Yahweh Shai and the first fruits as the government, the world government, man, and righteousness, man. And he's gonna deliver, you know, the rest of the 1/3 men, women, and children of Israel, man. Okay. So let's go from there. Let's cue up this first video. All right. So when you go into it, let's get it. See which one. Let's go with this one first. Let's get this preset. Brother got. So this is the brother you call. All right, 144. It says you call hope for 144. Second Ezra 4:28 said, but it's concerning the things whereof thou asking me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Okay, so going back to the garden, that's where wickedness was sown. Okay, and wickedness has been a problem in the earth ever since the garden. All right, the sons of God, you know, they will have their moments. You know, Genesis 6, and you go to the time of King David, King Solomon, you know, the Maccabean revolt, the Hasmonean dynasty. You know, we will have little spurts of sovereignty. Okay, and we was a superpower during the time of King David and King Solomon. Okay, but for the most part, wickedness has dominated the earth. Okay, these heathens, you know, as they will come into power and they will build empires, well, these empires will become what? Wicked, man. You see? So going back from Adam, man, wickedness has always been a plague in the earth. All right, verse 29 it says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. Okay, so unless this empire is passed away, and what's going to remove this empire? This war. This war is going to uproot this last heathen empire, the empire of Esau. Okay, Esau is the last heathen to be a superpower in the earth. Okay, to have dominance in the earth, man. And you see, after that, it's only going to be Yahweh Shah, the throne of David. All right, the first fruit, Mount Zion. From here on out, this is what it's going to be post World War III. Okay, so this war that we're seeing, this is the war that's going to end the age of the heathen having empires in the world. Okay, they're going to go to being forever, all right, servants to Israel, man. Okay, and Israel is going to be the last government established in the earth, man, the last dynasty. You know, that's a lesson within itself, man. The last dynasty will be Israel in this war. Okay, this is what's going to transition from the kingdom of Esau, okay, along with these heathens to the kingdom of Israel, man. You see, in verse it said oh yeah, verse 30, and it says 30 said, for the grain of evil seed has been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness have it brought up until this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come. Okay, until the time of threshing come. And this war is going to be the time of threshing, man. Okay, so this war that we're seeing, all right, escalate and accelerate in the earth, well, this war is going to fulfill the Lord's will. It's going to fulfill his good pleasure. You know, it's going to be the war in which he's going to give the kingdom, okay, to the saints. You see? Yahweh Shai and the elect of Israel, man. So you have these things happening as we follow these things. Well, these are all the events that's leading to the Lord doing his pleasure in the world. You know, we're seeing the Lord doing his pleasure, man. Okay. Now let's go here because we know America, okay, will be the center stage of prophecy in these last days. Okay. And the Lord has it set up, all right, to where these nations, okay, are starting to form alliances to get at America. You see, and these alliances were written thousands of years ago. Okay. You go to Ezekiel 38, that was during the Babylonian Empire, an alliance of today, 2026. You know, Ezekiel was in the captivity of Babylon. You know, you go through the history like, 598 BC, you know. So that was over 2,500 years ago, close to 2,600. You see, give or take. But now we're seeing these things play out. Okay. Iran being that wild boy, Ezra was doing the Medo-Persian Empire. You know, and he was speaking prophecy about the future Persians, which is known as Iran, how they will be a wild boy in this third world war. All right, we're seeing glimpses of it, man. We're seeing preludes of it. Okay. This wild boy is a tool, So let's go into it. All right, because as we know, as of late, all right, Iran has been on the offensive. Okay, and they've been evicting, okay, America out of Western Asia, what they call the Middle East. Okay, so let's play this.
Reports suggest the United States is quietly moving troops and military equipment out of parts of the Middle East. When President Donald Trump was asked whether American forces were being moved out of Bahrain, Kuwait, or other parts of the region, his answer was brief: "I don't want to comment on that."
There's a report that you're moving U.S. troops out of Bahrain and Kuwait. Are troops being moved out of the Middle East?
That single response has fueled fresh speculation about Washington's military strategy as tensions with Iran remain extremely high. But the bigger story is now unfolding in Jordan. In a rare and extraordinary development, hundreds of Jordanian political leaders, retired military officers, academics, lawyers, tribal chiefs, and other prominent public figures have signed an open letter with one clear demand. They want American troops to leave Jordan. This is a remarkable development because public criticism of Jordan's security relationship with the United States is extremely rare. Strict cybercrime laws and repeated crackdowns have made public dissent risky. Even so, many of the people who signed the letter admitted they could face consequences, but said the issue was too important to remain silent. So why is this happening now? Supporters of the petition say Jordan is not a party to the Israel-Iran conflict and should not be drawn into a war because of the presence of nearly 4,000 American troops. In recent months, Iranian missiles and drones have repeatedly targeted American military facilities inside Jordan. Some attacks reportedly caused American casualties. Others triggered air raid sirens and forced Jordanian air defenses to intercept incoming threats. For many Jordanians, this has changed the security situation completely. They argue that hosting American forces has turned Jordan from a relatively stable country into a potential frontline target. The concerns are not limited to security. Tourism, one of Jordan's most important industries, has already been affected by growing regional instability. Critics say the country is paying both an economic and security price for a conflict it never chose. Jordan's government sees the situation differently. Officials say the American military presence is part of a long-standing security partnership under the 2021 Defense Agreement, not a network of permanent U.S. bases. They also point out that the United States provides around $1.65 billion in annual assistance, making Washington one of Jordan's most important strategic partners. Meanwhile, reports indicate another major shift is taking place in Iraq. According to multiple reports, most American personnel and heavy equipment have now left northern Iraq under an agreed withdrawal timetable. U.S. Central Command has declined to comment on active troop movements. However, the timing has raised new questions. American facilities in northern Iraq have faced repeated drone and missile attacks since the latest Israel-Iran conflict intensified. Reports also claim that Patriot air defense systems, which protected both American forces and nearby Kurdish areas, have now been removed. If those reports are accurate, parts of Iraqi Kurdistan could become more vulnerable to future attacks. Officially, Washington says the withdrawal is simply part of an existing agreement with Baghdad. But strategically, Iran and its allies may see a very different picture. After years of sustained attacks, they could argue that increasing military pressure is forcing the United States to reconsider where it maintains its military presence and which allies it can continue to defend. That is why President Trump's refusal to answer a simple question has drawn so much attention, because across Jordan, Iraq, and the wider Middle East, one question is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Is the United States carrying out a routine military realignment, or is the balance of power in the Middle East
Yeah, Esau getting packed up, man. America being packed up, okay, out that region. And what it's doing is clearing the path for Ezekiel 38, okay, because Iran is destroying all these radars, it's destroying these military bases that house troops, okay. So America is being moved out the way in that region and is clearing the path for Ezekiel 38, all right, for Revelation 16, which you'll get, in a minute. But can the brother post Isaiah 13 and what I see? Isaiah 13 verses 14 and 15, Baba Shah. Yeah, Isaiah 13 verses 14 and 15. And let's get let's see. Cause this is just prophecy playing out, man. Okay, these are all steps in prophecy, and the Lord doing his pleasure, man. And the end game is to give Israel the kingdom. Okay, beginning with the elect. Okay. And if a brother could post Isaiah 14 and 13, Isaiah chapter 43, verses 13 and 14 in the NLT, Baba Shah. It's gonna be for another video. But let's go from there. What video I want to get next? All right. So let's go here. Yeah, man, because now these nations are like, cause see, Jordan, you see, they ball with America, but now, all right, in America in the shooting war, all right, they fight someone that can shoot back. Now these nations are beginning to fall off from America, man. Okay, and America is having to leave and vacate all these bases, and the people of these certain GCC countries, man, they're beginning to uproar against American presence, man. Because they're like, nigga, your presence don't benefit nothing. Okay, your presence doesn't do anything for us, man. But make us a target. You see? Now when you go to let's go here. It's another video I got. Oh yeah, small hats. All right, it's a lot of civil war amongst these small hats. Okay, there's a lot of mutiny. Okay, within IDF forces. Let's get this word. I'm gonna pull up this word mutiny in a minute. But let's read this and we'll play this video next. Okay, small hats falling apart, man. Okay, and as the Lord got pressure on these small hats, America and the West, man. Okay, well, what the kings of the East, you see, and the kings of the East are just a tool. They'll throw away. America will throw away. All these nations will throw away. That's why in 2nd Ezra says these heathens are counted as what? Spittle. Okay, because when you go into Ezekiel 38, he says Gog and Magog, which speaking of Russia, prophesy against them. Okay, so the Lord not with none of them. They're just being used to play out the Lord's pleasure, man. Okay, so let's I say if a brother could post Isaiah 43, okay, verses 13 and 14 in the NLT. This is the brother Yashima tribe of Judah, Isaiah 34 and 14. It says, and it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. And this is America, man. You see, American troops, abroad is like they're a chased roe. That no man taketh up. No one wants them niggas in their land anymore. There was a time when American, presence meant protection, trade, you had perks, and you see, but now American presence means war, means instant war. Okay, it said they shall turn every man to his own people and flee everyone unto his own land, man. Yeah, everybody like, look, man, y'all gotta go to y'all own. y'all gotta get away from here, man. We'll figure it out on our own, but y'all need to get away from here, man. But what we're seeing, Esau is becoming like a chase roe. Everywhere that there's American assets, everywhere that there's American personnel, okay, is becoming a target in this region, man. Okay, and these nations like, look, man, we just gonna be amongst ourselves. We're gonna stick to ourselves, man. We don't need any more assistance, your presence anymore. Okay. Yeah, he saw through, man. You see, verse 15 says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. Okay. And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Okay. And if you're joined with America in these last days, man, you're a target, okay, to this alliance that the Lord has raised up in the East, man. You see, and ultimately, it's going to end with what? Missiles coming to America, man, and land America, turning America to a desert. You see? So anyone that's in agreement with America, anyone that's a military ally, anyone that takes this sea hip, okay, you join yourself to Esau. You take the sea hip, you're joined with Esau, man. You're going to be thrust through with the sword, the missiles. Okay? So this ain't the time to be allied with E, man. Okay? Because there's a target on E back. Prophecy has a target on E, man. That's why all these nations that host American military bases, they getting that smoke. Because prophecy got a target on E, man. Okay? And being an ally with this devil puts you in the crossfire, man. Okay? So yeah, let's play this. Let's play a little bit of this.
You've killed every one of the easy even to overthrow a government, but it's almost impossible to get out. And we went into this not even pretending to have an exit strategy. Like, what does victory look like? You killed the Ayatollah. You wiped out half of the government leadership, almost the entire military leadership. You've killed every one of the country's nuclear scientists. You bomb mercilessly. Okay, then what are you going to do? Because nothing has changed. Nothing. And nothing will change. Again, this is a country of almost 93 million people. It is the size of the whole of Western Europe. It's surrounded on three sides by impenetrable mountains. But you think that you fire a couple of rockets, that people will suddenly rise up in the streets, overthrow the government, and everybody's going to live in the land of milk and honey. And anybody who spent more than 5 minutes looking at the Middle East knew that that was ridiculous.
Former CIA officer John Kiriakou, a veteran operative who once sat at the very heart of the covert world, has dropped a bombshell of an allegation. He unequivocally points out that under the current tensions, it isn't just the United States suffering from a wave of high-level resignations over this unjust war. Critically, deep within the heart of the so-called Zionist project in occupied Palestine, a storm of unprecedented magnitude is brewing. According to the classified intelligence available to Kiriakou, a massive number of senior officers are resigning in tears, and the entire country has been plunged into chaos. He was brutally honest, stating that the U.S. was dragged into a war with Iran solely because Israel insisted that the U.S. go to war. Finally, someone is willing to call out the elephant in the room. But I'm telling you, Kiriakou is absolutely spot on, and yet this is merely the tip of the iceberg. According to our latest intelligence and in-depth analysis, a far more profound and devastating storm is raging wildly within the occupation forces themselves. This is not just political bickering. This is an internal collapse consuming the occupying entity from within, fueled by the unprecedented and wildly successful intelligence penetration achieved by the Iranian military. Before we plunge into the eye of the storm, if you are seeing the truth and feeling the outrage, please hit that like button and share this video with everyone who needs to see through the propaganda. Even if you just drop a simple dot in the comments, or better yet, share your thoughts on American hegemony and the unfolding chaos in the region, it helps us break through the algorithmic suppression and amplifies the voice of independent anti-war journalism. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the absolute best time. Hit that subscribe button and stand with us in support of honest, unfiltered journalism. All right, let's move forward. Kiriakou's revelations act like a surgical scalpel, precisely slicing open the festering wound that Western media has wrapped in layers of deceit. His core argument is that America's war against Iran has never been about democracy or freedom, but is entirely a product of Zionist geopolitical ambitions, where Washington's politicians are utterly held hostage by the occupation lobby. And now,
And that's prophecy. You know, what they're explaining is prophecy, man. Okay? When they're speaking of Zionists, these small hats, or that's the least of the flock. Okay? Drawing them out. Okay? So the small hats have their part to play, and they're doing it, and they're drawing all these major nations into war, because it's the small hats behind America and Ukraine. Okay? Ukraine has provoked Russia. Okay? And America has provoked Iran, which they play a major part of an alliance. And now, all right, Ukraine has began to strike Turkish ships, you know, delivering supplies to Russia. And that's their third major, all right, military power that forms that alliance of Ezekiel 38. Okay? So what we're seeing is prophecy being activated, man. The Lord is activating all these alliances that he spoke of, man. That's how we are. It's bigger than what the elites got going on. We watch these niggas look tacky playing with this new world order, a flock camera, you know, a car that, you know, reads your facial expression. We're watching this tacky nigga roll this out, man. Okay? And that's all prophecy as well. And then you look at what's happening in this war, man. It's like, whoa, all these alliances are happening exactly how the Lord said it would happen. Okay, real time. Okay? You know, so we watch, you know, both the MOTB rollout and the war. Okay? Because they all speak to the Lord doing his pleasure in the world, in the earth, man. You know? and it's leading to the second coming of Yahweh. Okay, that's why we wait for this nigga. Okay, but let's play some more.
This absurd logic of fighting someone else's war is triggering a massive backlash from within. His prediction of more resignations among U.S. officials over this unjust conflict, however, pales in comparison to the spectacular internal strife we are witnessing in the occupied territories, a real-life drama, generals fighting generals, and the military fighting itself. Let's zero in on a landmark incident that territories. According to multiple local media outlets, including Harris, over 100 soldiers from the Pizabar Battalion of the Golani Brigade Occupation Forces staged a collective act of insubordination that has shaken the entire military establishment to its core. These soldiers publicly discarded their weapons and marched out of the base in groups, shouting insults at their commanding officers. The official explanation given by the occupation's high command was that their commander had removed a decorative emblem bearing a Realm of Hell design. But anyone with a functioning brain can see that this is a laughable excuse. The real trigger, according to intelligence we have obtained, runs far deeper. The soldiers' fury is squarely aimed at the senior leadership's blatant incompetence and cowardice in the face of Iranian power. They have witnessed firsthand the secret effectiveness of Iran's retaliatory offensives, and this effectiveness has completely shattered frontline morale. These soldiers have come to realize that not only can their commanders not protect them, but they might very well be deeply compromised. Yes, you heard that correctly. Intelligence suggests that the depth of Iranian penetration is terrifyingly profound. Reports indicate that the Iranian military's intelligence apparatus has successfully infiltrated the highest levels of the occupation's command structure. Even more shocking, a growing number of occupation soldiers, driven by utter despair and rage toward their leadership, have proactively established secret channels to contact the Iranians directly.
Yeah, if a brother want to get that was that Mark 3, 23, 24, house divided, cannot stand. So these small hats, their military is falling out, and some are even, commit treachery, man. Okay, because there's so much pressure being put on them, all right, by all these different wars that they're fighting. Their leadership is just causing war after war, and they're losing. Okay, like I say, Israel, the small hats they post, because all you hear about is these airstrikes that they're doing. They did 100 airstrikes last week, and you think, man, they kicking ass. Yeah, they're just killing civilians, and they're using those fighter jets for demolition. Okay, but when it comes to actual war, man, the IDF be getting drugged across this region, man. Okay, on the ground by Hezbollah, and then a shooting war, they get drugged by Iran, man. Okay, and their leaders are just sending them out there as cannon fodder. So you have what you call mutiny, okay, amongst the ranks of the small hats, man. And I'll put this in the description because it's got some more information on that video. Let me play a few seconds more of it.
What are they offering to Tehran? Precise coordinates of military hardware depots, the exact parking positions of helicopters and warplanes, and even the GPS locations of troop shelters and bunkers housing command and control systems. This is not an isolated phenomenon. It is a spreading systemic betrayal of trust. Think about it. When your adversary not only knows every card in your hand, but can even directly turn your own soldiers into informants, how can you possibly fight this war? This isn't merely intelligence leakage. It is a complete systemic collapse of trust and a glaring testament to the total illegitimacy.
There's one bit of hope, one ray of hope. Netanyahu has never gone.
So let's go from there. Get some of these precepts. I got a couple more videos. But so you have the small hats, they're beginning to mutiny, and they've been doing this since Hamas, because even on the ground, they was catching ground on Hamas. Of course they're able to, just do relentless airstrikes on Gaza, because there's no air defense. Okay. But when it came to the ground, when their soldiers had to go into the ground in Hamas was getting up. Okay. And you had Israeli, all right, those IDF soldiers committing mutiny, all right, even during Hamas. Okay. They commit mutiny during Hezbollah, and they're just committing more mutiny now. Okay. So let's get to the definition, then get a couple precepts from you, brothers.
If something ever happens to me, you'll never
Going to make
All right, so let's get this word mutiny. All right, it says mutiny is an open refusal to obey orders, a revolt, or an uprising against a leader. It most often happens when soldiers and sailors rebel against their commanding officers, man. And that's been on the uptick amongst the IDF, man. Okay, because they're just sending them guys in there as cannon fodder. Okay, but they was all for it when they was just attacking civilian with aircrafts. Okay, but when they had to put boots on the ground, okay, them small hats ain't built for that, man. Okay, them fragile ass small hats, man. All right, let's go to this is brother Ash. All right, Rakai Asha'Allah. Mark 3:24 says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. Okay, verse 25, it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan, okay, you see, because these small hats are the worst of all these Edomites, man. They're the closest to Satan of all these Edomites, these small hats, man. Okay, it says, and if Satan shall rise up against Satan, all right, if Satan shall rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end, man. Okay, we at Esau's end, so we're seeing division. We're seeing this nigga get chased out of countries. Okay, we're seeing this nigga not having the advantage in the sword. He's at the end. The Lord is packing Esau and his empire up, man. Okay, this devil is on limited time. Okay, now let's go here. Let's play this and show you how prophecy is speaking. Because with these analysts, of course they're just speaking from a surface carnal level. And we just extrapolate things that they say that align with prophecy to drive home the point. Okay, but then how the spirit will have them say particular things, and it's like, oh, you see. So let's play some of this.
Make a civilization disappear overnight. I mean, come on. Why listen to anything the man says? Right? The man is going to do what he wants him to do. Let's be frank. That's where we're headed. What does Netanyahu want? He wants the war to continue. Zelensky is joined at the hip with Netanyahu. They are part of the same cabal. What does Zelensky want? He wants the war to continue. For it to continue, he needs more missiles, more drones that he can hurl at the Russians. Now, let's get real and look at what is and is not possible. Iran's goal in the war, number one, was to survive. They're not deluded. They never harbored any illusions about their real power and influence. They understood that the best they could do was to defend themselves. Dan, they've done that. They've proven that they have survived. They realize that they've won. That was the point of the MOU that Trump signed and then walked away from, unsurprisingly, because it effectively said, okay, you get what you want. You won. We'll go along with it. We'll tolerate it because it's in the interest of the global economy. Well, that went away. He can't tolerate that. Now, what's goal number two for the Iranians? They need to finish the job. And what does that mean to them? That means that you've got to remove the United States from the region. How do you do that? You smash all the bases beyond repair. You make it patently obvious that any attempt to come back into that region and reestablish yourself on the ground is an impossibility. We are not fighting the war we were fighting just a few weeks ago. Donald Trump is fighting a rear guard action to try and preserve what little is left of our military, political, and economic power and dominance. And there's not that much left anymore. His attack on Iran was an acid test for our military power, our strength. We could have avoided it. We didn't need to do it. It was not required. But Netanyahu and his agents in the United States insisted upon it. Trump owes them whatever, and so he's done it. They're back, and they're going to tell him the only way this war ends is with the complete and utter destruction of Iran. I would turn that around and warn everyone that if he indeed does proceed, it's not the end of Iran. It'll finish us in the Gulf. That's absolutely that privately Netanyahu is worried about that, but he doesn't know what else to do. And the simple truth is the same for Ukraine. Either we give them more to sustain them for another month or two, or they too will go out of existence. And if we give them something to sustain them for another month or two, half of which will be stolen and end up in private bank accounts, they too will be destroyed. The handwriting, as we say, is on the wall. Ukraine is destroyed. That nation is finished. And oh, by the way, Iran is victorious, and a new order is going to emerge in the Middle East. And I would tell you that over the next few months, it will be obvious that that new order consists of 4 powerful states: Russia, China, Iran, and Turkey. I predict that Turkey will finally get off the bench and demonstrate that it is part of that axis. And that is the end of us and the finish of Israel in the region.
There you have it, man. There you have it. Okay? Out of all the countries in the world, why is Turkey? Because of prophecy, man. Okay? And like I said, they're just tools. These kings of the East are tools that's going to be used to destroy, all right, America, turn it to a desert, all right, and wipe out those small hats and those heathens out of our land, man. Okay, so we're seeing the Lord perform his pleasure, man. He say the writing's on the wall, all right, Daniel 5:5. Many tekel a parson, all right. Thy kingdom is numbered and is found wanting. Okay, there's a judgment. America has done all this wickedness. You Edomites have done all this wickedness with no judgment, man. So now all that judgment finna come at one time, and this war gonna play a major part in it, man. Okay, so let's go from there. All right, have another one. Just some stuff I've been combing through the spirit. So let's link that one to this one. Hey, the spirit, the spirit out there, man. How the Lord work, man. There's the spirit out there, and you hear these analysis saying the same thing. Now let's play a little bit of this one. Let's see who he mentioned. Okay, because you look at it from, no one's talking about Turkey. Turkey ain't involved in anything. Turkey, But why is Turkey being mentioned now? Okay, because of prophecy's sake, man, the will of the Lord. So let's play this.
I do think it means that we are stuck in both theaters of war, the one in the heart of Europe and the one in Southwest Asia. We are stuck with 3 things: a terrible, defeated strategy on both fronts; 2, nuclear powers on both fronts, and I don't just mean Israel; and 3, no idea whatsoever how to deal with this. And then I want to come back to the original purpose for doing this. The deep state, I mean Robert Mercer, I mean Elon Musk, I mean Peter Thiel, I mean Charles Koch, I mean the oligarchs behind the Trump administration who are directing Donald Trump like he was a puppet. And he's a great puppet. Every now and then he does something stupid even in that regard, but mostly he's a puppet. They are now realizing that this effort to get at China through these different proxy wars, to stop China's inexorable movement, inexorable gain of power to the point where they are very soon, if not already, the most powerful economic entity in the world, which is what counts in this world. Their effort has failed. It has failed categorically on both active fronts, the one in Central Europe and the one in Southwest Asia. It's failed for different reasons in both places, but it has failed. What the hell do they do now? Because they're going to become increasingly desperate. They have allied themselves in many respects with Bibi Netanyahu and his greater Israel effort. What does it mean for that? Particularly, what does it mean when, for example, Erdogan gets off his dead ass and finally picks a side? And there's no question in my mind what that side is going to be. It's going to be the side opposed to Israel and opposed to the empire. And it's going to be traumatic, and it's going to be decisive in that particular region of the world. But what does all of that mean? I think it means that
Now, Erdogan is the president of Turkey. You know, so he's talking about Erdogan being involved, and he said he's going to decide. All right, Erdogan is going to choose the side, okay, of Russia and Iran. Okay, so before even Turkey, you know, jumps into the fray, the different analysts, okay, are already projecting Turkey to join the side of Iran, okay, and Russia, okay, against these small heads in America, man. You know, and prophecy predicted that.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family-owned oil company focused
of
yeah, prophecy predicted these things. You see, thousands of years ago. Now it's just catching up. 2026. Now everything is coming full circle, man. Okay. Lord showing the ears. Let's get our favorite precept. I'm gonna make it y'all favorite precept too. But let's get Ecclesiastes 8 and 4. All right, let's play a little bit of this and then we'll get some more precepts and segue some more. I think I got 2 more videos after this.
some disgust, if not thinking them one of the most despicable countries in the world. Are they getting their comeuppance now, finally? It is very by the texture and design of this U.S. campaign against Iran. It's aiding and abetting the destruction of not only the GCC states on the Gulf, but also that one that is most removed from it, that's squeezed in, if you will, between the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. I don't think Bibi Netanyahu's idea that this is all going to survive and that the Abraham Accords and everything's going to be all wonderful and Israel will be the tool in the middle that engineers all that, I think that's a farce right now. I think it's all a wash in what Trump has done, ostensibly for Israel, but he is expediting, speeding up, accelerating the destruction of the Jewish state in the Levant. Now, that's not the struggle between the East and the West, if you will. But it's all part of the same fabric right now. And as I've said, the danger here, and I think just to get back to Saudi Arabia for a minute, I think it's gone. I think just gone is the state that it's been for the last, well, since FDR and the king met. And Israel's gone. As
all of them through, you know, Saudi, because they often go into captivity. You see, brother can get that, Jeremiah 30 and 16. They all finna go into captivity. They're all done. Okay? And the kingdom is finna be what? All right? Yahweh Shai. You see, and Lord will join heirs, man. Lord will part of 1/3, you know, beginning with the first fruits. Okay? And we're part of what this new kingdom Yahweh Shai is getting ready to bring in. All of them done. So the Lord has all these nations playing against themselves, man. You see? And it can only be explained by the Bible. Okay, what's happening?
The Jewish state. So we're changing lots with this incredibly incompetent leader we have in Washington, but he's being forcible forces that are clashing right now on the world scene. And they're clashing on a front, Nima, that runs, it's almost 8,000 kilometers from the Arctic Circle all the way down to where we have our ships, 1,000 nautical miles, I'm told, still, our carriers, our capital ships in the Indian Ocean. And that's another indicator that this is not a maritime world anymore, because these carriers are afraid to go any closer because they'll be sunk. They'll be destroyed. That's a real comment, because this is the instrument most noted in the world of the American empire's ability to bring military power into your backyard tomorrow.
Talking about these aircraft carriers, you know, but this was, you know, America's advantage over the world. You know, how it was able to dispatch these aircraft carriers, which are like floating airports. You know, they was equipped with missile defense systems, you know, which make them hard to destroy. And they had all them fighter jets that could be dispatched, you know, from these aircraft carriers and fly overhead your country, all right, and put their work on your ass, man. Okay, the hammer of the earth. You see? But now with the military technology that these other nations have, he's going to go into how that's irrelevant now. Okay? And that's why these nations have America on the back foot. Okay? Because those aircraft carriers aren't able to perform how they used to, because now they risk being sunk. Okay? By hypersonic weaponry. Okay? Underwater drones, and you know, and more. So let's play a little more of this.
You know, famous around the world by these little wars we've conducted from their platforms, is gone. It is no longer a symbol of American power worth chump change. It just remains for a couple of them to be sunk to prove that dramatically and decisively. But that is an indicator of how the American empire has walked itself into a defeat that is not just like Afghanistan and Iraq and Somalia and Libya and a host of other little wars were. This is fundamental. This is a defeat of the empire, a massive defeat of the empire. And these symbols are going to go with that defeat. And we're seeing it right now, and we're going to see it even further. And I'm really worried, as I said before, that we're going to see some mushroom clouds in the process too. Not least am I worried about that, because when the empire...
Oh, you said mushroom cloud. You see? All prophecy, man. All this is prophecy, man. Okay? Let's get this real quick. This is brother servant of let me see. It's the brother servant of Yahushua. It says, from eternity to eternity, I'm the Most High. No one can snatch anyone out of my hand. See, the Esau's in the Lord's crosshairs, man. Okay, there's nothing Esau can do that can remove that crosshair off him, man. Okay, all these wars and, you know, all these, his gimmicks and, you know, him trying to roll out this new world order. Okay, because that was like he's just throwing everything out there. You know, like I said, you had the Hunter virus, you know, the cruise ship stuck out there. We thought that was a thing, supposed to be like 50% fatal. You know, the Ebola came and left. You see, you know, then we thought it was the gas thing. He was gonna shut the pumps down or cause major inflation and stop trucking it. Then it came with the diarrhea lettuce and, you know, the ticks. He started unleashing ticks on farms and make you allergic to red meat. So all this tacking is this nigga doing, man. Okay. He's still in the Lord's hand. Like the Lord got this nigga, man, and breaking this nigga down to nothing. Okay. As we speak, it said, no one can undo what I have done. Okay, no one can undo what I have done, man. So the Lord set these prophecies in motion, and there's nothing they can do to undo it, man. Nothing that Esau can do can undo these prophecies that the Lord has set in motion, man. Okay, and this is what we're watching real time. Now, when you read verse 14, okay, in NLT, it's all right. So hear what the Lord says, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sakes, I will send an army against Babylon. So who's putting these nations against Babylon? The Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. I will send an army against Babylon. This army is a great alliance of Russia, China, Iran, Turkey. You have North Korea, Pakistan, India. Okay? You're going to have all these different nations, man, that the Lord is sending against Babylon, man. And they already giving Babylon hell. Babylon catching hell at phase 1, man. It only gets worse. Okay, we still on rookie, man. We ain't got the all man yet, man. You see, it said forcing the Babylonians to flee in those ships. All right, they are so proud of, because they can't park them ships on the coast of these countries anymore. These ships are way off. They ain't effective as they used to be. You see, because they can't park on the beach like they used to. No, because they can get sunk. All right, and this used to be America's projection of military might with these aircraft carrying these strike groups, man. Okay, but they're becoming irrelevant in this third world war. You see, and it has America on the back foot. All right, so let's go from there. Let's read a couple more. Then I got what else I wanted. It's the brother Beyond Yasha'Allah. All right. Ecclesiastes 8:4. And it says, where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? And see, these words were written thousands of years ago. But look how much weight they hold right now. They're happening just as the Lord said it would happen. Showing you that with the word of a king, the king, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, is power. Okay? And who can check them? Who can say, well, why are you doing it? Well, no, ain't no back and forth with prophecy. It's just happening. Okay? And either prophecy is for your favor or it's gonna roll over your ass, man. Okay? Just like people think that they on these comment boards or making these videos and scoffing. Guess what? You're subjugated to prophecy, man. Your role as a scoffer was written. Okay? You're subjugated to the word of the king. Okay? So no matter what position you play, what's your role within prophecy? Everyone's subjugated to the power of the king. Okay? So let's go from there, guys. I think I got 2 more videos because if they were speaking about Turkey, well, guess what Ukraine does? Okay, not too long ago, maybe yesterday, maybe. I think this was yesterday. So let's play a little bit of this, and I think this is a pretty good interview too. I watched, but they just went live this morning, so I watched about 20 minutes of it. But I think this is a pretty good interview. I'll go ahead and put it on the chat. Well, let's play this.
Hi, everybody. Today is Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, and our dear friend, our brother, John Helmer, is with what just came out moments ago. A Turkish-owned cargo ship carrying fruits and vegetables to Russia was targeted by a Ukrainian drone attack near Siask,
Novorossiysk, yes.
Novorossiysk, yeah. It says that at least 3 crew members were injured in this attack. This is not something new. We know that they attacked Iranian cargo ship from Russia to Iran as well. We talked about it last week. And the other point on Odessa, which is somehow, it seems that putting a lot of pressure on Ukraine. That's why you see these sort of attacks on the part of Ukrainians. What is going on, John, considering the battlefield, considering this sort of pressure that Russia is putting on Ukraine and Ukraine is retaliating?
So you see, all right, Ukraine has struck, all right, Turkey vessels, delivering goods to Russia. Okay, which is going to eventually activate Turkey in this war, man. On the side with who? Russia and Iran. You see? So here it is. You have all this mention of Turkey, and then a couple of days later, you have Ukraine make this move, man. Lord showing that he is. I just want to play that little part, that little information. But now let's go here. And this is the last video. So let's play this, and then we'll get a couple more precepts. And if a brother could, in fact, let me get this Ezekiel 38 first. Then we'll come back to this. But if a brother could get that Revelation 11, 14, and 15 by Wishah. Well, let me get this Ezekiel 38 just to show this happening, And the small hats, and Russia know there's the small hats that's behind what Ukraine is doing. They know it's the small hats in America. Okay, all these nations, they know the small hats are behind, what's happening to their country, man. You see, because these small hats got this diabolical plan of greater Israel. Nigga, you finna get out of here, man. You finna go into great captivity. That's what you small hats finna do. Okay, Edomites, a lot of these plans and shit Esau be having, this nigga just be talking, man. Okay, certain things that the Lord gonna allow this man to do according to prophecy, man. But a lot of these are the things that this man be verbalizing like he just got it figured out, man. Nigga just be talking, man. Okay, now he's gonna wreak havoc on the masses. It's gonna be famine, it's gonna be civil unrest, all these things, man. But our power gonna be with us, man. See, these people gotta worry about that. Yahushua told us, don't even worry about what you gonna eat, what you gonna put on, man. But that's, we got it, man. Being a father, had that worked out. These people gotta worry about that, man. And we constantly tell our people that hey, this is the worst time ever coming. But then it's the best time ever too. Because the Lord finna show power in the midst of all this, man. He's gonna show power in the war, he's gonna show power, for the elect. And in our day to day, Lord we of that number, So these some dark, beautiful times. You see? So let's go here to Ezekiel 38. All right, there's a show that's happening, So just a quick read through. All right, we got plenty of extensive breakdowns on this chapter, If you need it, just leave a comment, if you need the video, I can send you the link. All right. So this is Ezekiel 38:1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, which is Russia, today. All right, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, which is Turkey, and prophesy against him. Okay, so the Lord's against all these nations, man. These nations just have their part to play in prophecy. Just because the Lord is using these nations as a tool, mean that the Lord is with these nations, man. Okay, he just got them souped up to perform their role in prophecy, man. It says, and say, thus said the Lord, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, because Russia has become a military leader, amongst these nations to go against the West. All right, their chief prince, everybody moving, all these nations are moving according to how Russia moving against the West, man. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. Okay, and you look at, you know, Russia, it's a military manufacturing powerhouse, man. You know, I'm talking Russia can produce a lot of hardware, man. You see, a lot of munitions, a lot of missiles, a lot of tanks, a lot of missile defense systems, man. The things that take America years to make, Russia doing it in months. Okay, why? Because they have a role in prophecy, man. Okay, verse 5 says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya, all right, African nations, with them all. I says, with the matter of fact, Putin just had a meeting with the South African general. I want to say last week. We just had a meeting with the South African general. Let's see. Let's see. We'll pull up. Yeah. Yeah, just real quickly, copy and paste this. I'll show you, man. It's all prophecy, man. So yeah, when you go here, I seen this. Just looking at some random news. So you had I just pulled it up in on the Google. All right. It says did it pull up? Yep. So it says, yeah, it says the South African Chief Lieutenant General Lawrence, all right, Mbatha visited Moscow in late July 2026. Okay, it was a few weeks ago, to hold, really last week, you know, week and some change. It says to hold defense talk with Russian military leaders, focusing on joint combat readiness projects. Okay, and it says in land force cooperation. Okay, so this is Ezekiel 38, man. Okay, because it mentioned African nations, all right, Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, with them all of them with shield and helmet. Gomar, which is Turkey. So like, jump down verse 6. Hey, hold on, went the wrong way. All right. We'll say Gomar and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. And it says company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guard unto them, man. So this is what we see happening, man. Okay. This is the alliances the Bible speaks of, and these things are coming together today, real time. Okay. So Turkey's getting ready, you know, they've been drugged into this war, and it's a small hats. They're doing it through Ukraine, or the small hats, because the leadership of Ukraine are the small hats, man. You know? So let's go from there. Let's play this. Play this real quick. This where we at, man.
What we're seeing now over the course of this 5.5 months is that this conflict of, are we at war? Are we not at war? Okay, we're shooting at each other, so we're definitely at war. Okay, we're not shooting each other, so we're not at war anymore. And we've lost the understanding throughout history that just because you're not shooting missiles at each other doesn't mean you're still not involved in the same conflict or the same war, because you have not achieved any end state or political end state. And what is the, you know, so I say world war based on the actual historical accepted definition, not what I think it is, not what I assume that it is, not what I see in movies or, you know, Call of Duty video game. What is the definition of a world war? Well, the definition accepted by historic scholars and war scholars is world war. A war that is a large international conflict involving most or all of the world's major powers, spanning multiple continents and requiring total societal mobilization. As discussed in historical overviews, the term primarily was reserved for conflicts like World War I and later World War II. So, is this a large international conflict involving most or all of the world's major powers? Yes, the United States, Russia, China, Ukraine, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey, involved to some degree, a little bit, but they're certainly at the periphery of becoming more involved. Does it span multiple continents? It surely does. It spans the continent of Asia. It spans the continent of Africa. It spans the continent from Western Europe to the United States. Is it requiring total societal mobilization? Not of all nations. Not every nation has mobilized the entirety of their society, but Israel sure has. Iran sure has. The UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, they sure have. This is a total war for them. So based on global power participation, geographic spread, the involvement of those that are involved in the span of that conflict, how is this not a world war? I would offer anyone to argue the counterpoint to that. But
yeah, we know this is the beginning of it. You know, we know this is the beginning because other nations are going to continue to be drawn in, and it's going to affect the world more and more. Okay, and this war was prophesied ages ago. Okay, brother can get that too. With Revelation 9 and 12. But let's go here because this world war is going to end up with all these nations going into captivity. You see, that's the end game of this war. Jeremiah 30 and 16 said, "Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and right, they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey." And it's this war that's going to bring this to pass. Okay, it's going to be war that's going to put all these heathens in captivity. Okay, it's going to make all these heathens subjugated. All right, until the kingdom of Israel, the throne of David. Okay, it's going to be through war that all our adversaries go into captivity. You see, so let's see, let's get this. Yeah, let's get this one. It's Revelation 9 and 12. Brother, you call hope for elect. It says one war was past. All right, it was at the First World War. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter, World War II and World War III. So World War II has passed. And that's why when you get to Revelation, 11 and 14, Brother Bayan Yashala, the second woe was past. So the second woe, the Second World War has passed. And behold, the third one coming quickly, man. And we're watching it. You know, we're watching these things, man. This is putting pressure on Esau to come on with this new world order because he gotta get to a certain point, you know, before the war really takes off, man. Okay. Now I'm looking for verse 15. This is the brother of Revelation. This is brother Ash. All right. Rakai Yasha'Allah, Revelation 11 and 15. And the seven angels sounded, and there was great voice in heaven saying, "The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever," man. You see, that's the end game with it. This is the Lord fulfilling his pleasure and establishing Yahweh Shai as the King of kings in the earth, man, the Lord of lords, you know, and having his sons, his other sons be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. You see, forever, man. You see, in righteousness. So we're watching the build up to that, man. This is that third woe that the Bible speaks of, and it's happening, okay, as we speak, and things are only escalating, okay? And we know not to listen to peace talks because we know, okay, as they say, peace and safety, then sudden, destruction, man. So, yeah, that's the point. We're living in some beautiful times. The Lord is at work. Our power is doing everything that He said He would do. So Lord will you brothers and you few sisters were edified once again. Want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful. Shalom.